I want to make this video because we say all the time vulnerability is a superpower, and vulnerability is how you connect with others, and it's what allows you to connect with other people. And what I've realized is that your vulnerability is the true key to authenticity. The things that you try to hide or shy away from, or just keep in the dark, are really the things that cause us to, or at least have caused me to not feel comfortable in my skin, or to even be completely honest with myself and others. So I want to open up with y'all about some things. And yeah, so I've been a personal trainer for the past 5 years. I got into personal training around COVID time after I had a attempt, and this wasn't my first attempt. This wasn't my second. This was just a big one, where I ended up in the hospital. And at that point in my life, I just felt like I didn't have a purpose. I didn't matter. And I just felt like I was just taking up space in the world, and not taking up space in a positive way, but I just felt like I was just in the way and I wasn't contributing. I wasn't important. And I got a personal trainer after I had, been released from the hospital, and I just needed someone to support me and to help me to really just get back to myself, and to regain and establish a sense of control over my body. I started working out for myself when I was going into high school. I was an athlete my whole life. I have done so many different sports, and track was my primary sport. And it really started with after I would go to track practice, I would go home, and then I would do a whole other workout after. But what a lot of people don't know is the reason why I was working out was because I was dealing with sexual abuse at home. And it was like an incest thing. It started with an adult taking advantage of one of my siblings, and like a parasite, the incest went through. I was able to make peace with that and reconcile that, and just understand, we're all kids. You don't know what you're doing. Following that, going into high school, I dealt with another situation with a football player when I was a cheerleader, and I didn't tell my parents or anybody about it. I just said I wanted to transfer schools, and so I moved schools. My freshman year, I ended up switching to another school for sophomore and junior year of high school. That person who was at the school that I originally started at graduated and went on. Then I transferred back my senior year. Then I went to college, and when I got to college, dealt with another situation. Dealt with situations in a relationship, and dealt with situations outside of a relationship. And working out and going to the gym was my sanctuary. It was my citadel. It was my thing, and it was the one place where I had control over myself and my body. And I was strong, and I could just focus on myself. Nobody could come in this space or come in that space and violate me or take advantage of me. When I got into personal training, when I got a personal trainer, that wasn't the case. The first trainer I had, I ended up leaving because he was inappropriate with me. And so I left that situation. I never had a conversation about it. I just left it alone. And I just went on to train myself, and that was that. I worked at Crunch Fitness when I first started training, and then I went independent, in which I started at a private gym. And in my first private gym training experience, I dealt with another sexual assault situation, in which case I froze. Didn't fight back. I didn't have a conversation. I froze when it happened and I ran. Figured out how to leave the gym, how to get out of the contract, and I did. From that situation, I found another gym and I started training at One Body, which I love to this day. Amazing owner. Trained there for a few years, and I went on to do my internship at another gym. And when I did my internship at this other gym that I was, interning at, it just went to shit. Let's just say that. Didn't get paid the entire time I was in the internship. I ended up having to give up my apartment because I couldn't afford it anymore. My car almost got repossessed. Like, I almost lost everything behind this internship. I was working under a trainer who promised me that they were going to teach me how to become a Hollywood trainer, and I believed them. And just not what happened. I lost everything in that process and ended up moving in with my ex, which was a terrible decision. When they say do not move in with that man, do not move in with that man, okay? Ended up moving in with my ex and found myself in a toxic, chaotic relationship. Dealt with a lot in that situation. Ended up letting go of my internship, and from that point forward, I wanted nothing to do with personal training. I came back to personal training because I had a girl reach out to me, and she said, "Kelsey, will you please train me? Like, I've been saving up, I've been wanting to train with you. Can you please train me?" And I said, all right. At the time, I couldn't say no because my ex at the time would have been pissed off, like, if I had turned down money because I wasn't working. So I went back to training. So I ended up moving in with my boyfriend at the time. And yeah, terrible ass decision, but hell, you live and you learn, right? Through that relationship, I dealt with some shit. It's the best thing I can say and be honest with, from being cheated on, being humiliated, being lied to, being manipulated, all of the things that a person can deal with. Shit happens, right? And I will say that I was naive, not ignorant. Like, I empathize with Mariah the Scientist and what she has going on with Young Thug, because I was that girl who stayed with this man through thick and thin, no matter what. There was nothing nobody could tell me about this man. All the way up until, again, it literally almost me. At the end of that relationship, I literally had another attempt. For the same reason, just feeling like I didn't matter. I wasn't valuable. Nobody cared about me. I felt so by myself. It was just another thing again, like just feeling like nobody cared about me. And I remember I was literally at a certain point where I was literally yelling to the sky, like, did I do something in my past life for me to deserve this? Like, I've dealt with like being molested as a child. I've dealt with like rape attempts. I've dealt with stalkers. I've dealt with so many different things. Like, what did I do to end up, like, what did I do? What did I do? You know? And I've tried my best to be the nicest or the best person that I can be, but yet somehow I always end up on the end of the stick. And on that last time that I had my attempt, I just remember like feeling like there's no way out of here. Like there's no way out of here. Like I've tried. Like I said, I had multiple attempts to the point where I was just like, God, like you gotta show me something. Like you gotta do something. Like what's the point, you know? And I just decided like, you know what, I'm just gonna put my head down and I'm just gonna work hard, you know? That's what I did. I didn't have anybody in my family to help me. I didn't have friends like that who were supportive. And what I mean by that is when people ask me like, Kelsey, why do you do what you do? And why do you work so hard? And why, you know, do you do this? I do it for me. I do it for me and all the times where I only had me. I do it for the times where, I do it for the times when I almost didn't have anywhere to live. I do it for the times when I didn't have anybody to call. I do it for the times when I didn't have any food to eat. I do it for the times when literally all I had was me. People knew that I was getting cheated on and nobody gave a fuck about it. People knew that I didn't have anywhere to live and nobody offered me a place to stay. People knew that, like, people knew the type of relationship situation that I was in and did not help. It is what it is. Some people would say, oh, well, why don't you just leave him? Where was I gonna live? Oh, well, why don't you, you know, do X, Y, Z? Where was I gonna go? You know? And when the relationship ended and I was forced to let go of the situation, my dog died, my cousin passed literally that same month. I started training at a new gym, and the only thing that I was holding on to, the only thing that kept me going in that time was the disrespect that I experienced at the end of that relationship was so vile that I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction to see me flop. That's it. Say what you want. That was it. That was what motivated me. My first month, which was September, going into October, I raked it up. I was in my bag. That was all I was focused on. I didn't want to date anybody. I didn't want to be in a relationship. I didn't want anything to do with anybody. Like, my trust issues were through the fucking roof. I was literally just focused on myself. And I did that for years, or for the year that we broke up. And I remember when I dealt with that situation, I had a therapist at the time, and my therapist that I had at the time, I ended up having to fire because he ended up catching feelings for me. And so I let go of my therapist. Then I was like, okay, I hired a personal trainer who I also had to let go because then he made advances towards me. So I had to let go of my trainer. The friends that I had around me at the time just weren't headed in the direction that I wanted to go in. And I knew that I just didn't want to end up like that. I had to distance myself. I had to cut people off. I had to, isolate myself, as people say. And I had to choose me. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy choosing me when I couldn't call my mom because she wasn't going to help me. I did call her. She didn't help. I couldn't call any friends because they couldn't help me. I couldn't call anybody. I had to deal with this thing on my own. I stayed with a family member for like a month. That didn't work out. And so I ended up having to get an Airbnb, which I paid like $5,000 a month for. And while I was training at this new gym. This is really hard, but the new gym that I trained at, or that I was training at for the time being, it was great in the beginning. I loved it, you know. I felt like I thought that I was building some genuine relationships with people. I thought that, you know, it was peaches and cream, candy canes and rainbows, and I was like, oh my gosh, life is so good, everything's going great. And then once again, shit happens. I dealt with the most bizarre situations, from jealousy, envy, people trying to set me up, stalkers, and then another attempt. And once again, I didn't have a conversation with anybody about it. I told the person directly who assaulted me, like, that shit was not okay, and I'm blocking you, and we're just done. And I cut them off. Done. There were people that I thought were my friends who knew about the situation, and even though they knew about the situation that happened with this person at the gym, they didn't do anything. They still were friends with the person. And I remember I was at the gym. This was like the last month I was at the gym, and the guy who I had the situation with had come to the gym, and both of the guys that I thought were my friends knew that he was coming and said what's up, all the things, and didn't even tell me that he was coming. So I'm in a session seeing this man come into the gym, and I was just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And I remember I rushed through that session so quick, and I got the fuck out of there quick. And at that moment, I realized that not everybody is your fucking friend. A lot of people are not your fucking friend. And it took me a long time to think or come to the conclusion or the idea, or it took me a minute to even consider whether I was going to stay at the gym or what I was going to do. But I just started to see myself decline, where I didn't want to take on new clients. I didn't want to train anybody. I didn't want to be at the gym. I went from being okay with hanging out in the gym while I was in between sessions to literally waiting in my car, only coming out of my car when I had a client. And I started to gradually cut back on training sessions to the point where it did start to affect me financially, because obviously I just kept rescheduling training sessions, canceling training sessions. A lot of the things were going through, and I just didn't want to be at the gym. And I took a trip, you know. I went to London for like a week. And when I was in London, I came to the conclusion, I was like, you know what? No, like, I'm not going back to the gym. I quit. Like, I'm just not doing it. And so I stopped. I let the owners know, like, hey, I won't be continuing at this gym anymore. And I left the gym that month. That was it. Like, I came back from my trip, and I believe, like, as soon as I came back, I didn't even go back to the gym. I literally told them while I was boarding my flight back to the US from London that I was not going to be training at the gym anymore. And that's what it was. So to those of you who were wondering why I stopped training at the gym that I was training at, that's why. I then went on to train at another gym that I love, and it's not my first time training there. But yeah, I switched gyms and couldn't be happier. Like, I love the gym that I work at now, and I love the owner of the gym. Amazing guy. But anyways, what I started to notice in my own life outside of training clients was I started to develop an aversion to working out. I didn't want to work out anymore. Every time I would step foot inside of a gym, And I would try to push myself through a workout. I felt like I was having a panic attack, and I couldn't understand why. And I just thought, I was like, oh, okay, like, it must just be my nervous system. You know, like, I've gone through so much in this past year. I went through a breakup, my dog passed away, my cousin passed away. I went through, you know, these things. And that's why, like, I just have to regulate my nervous system. So I started doing yoga, and I started doing Pilates, and I just started to focus on just regulating my nervous system. And it worked, you know, it helped. It did help. It helped to soothe it a bit. But I didn't want to give up my fitness, you know, like, I didn't want to give up the gym. And it would eat me up so bad, because I was just like, I work out so hard. If you look at any of like my old fitness content, like if you go back and you see like the workouts that I do, I work out so hard. And that's just who I am. Like, I love doing like the high intensity workouts. I love doing like the heavy leg days. Like, anybody who knows me knows, like, I kick ass. Like, I have that dog in me. Like, I am really that bitch. Like, I am 100%, 10 toes down. But it got to a point where every time I would try to push myself to work out, even beyond working out, when my alarm clock would go off in the morning for me to go to the gym to train a client at 5 a.m., I would get heart palpitations. Like, I was gonna have a heart attack. Like, my body was rejecting me going to the gym. And I couldn't understand like what it was. And I just had to submit to it. I just had to make an adjustment. And I tried to work around it. I tried to just work out at home. I tried to slow down my workouts. I tried everything. I tried everything. And nothing helped. Nothing helped. And I was just like, what the hell is it? So I ended up going through a workout with a trainer at Equinox. And as he and I were going through our workout together, this was probably like a month and a half after I took a break, and I had to just take a break from just any high intensity workouts. And I told him, I was like, you know, I haven't been working out as much as I wanted to. But excuse me. I told him, I was like, you know, I haven't been working out how I've wanted to, but I really do like athletic training. I've just been hitting this wall, but you know, I'm really excited to do this training session with you. So we went through a workout together. As he and I were going through our training session together, I'm pushing myself through the circuit, and it wasn't a hard circuit. Like, mind you, I would work out at like Just Train, doing like 5 rounds, 5 sets of things. Like, I'm just saying, like, anyways, I'm not even gonna get into it, but my background in high intensity workouts, like, is up there, you know? And so when he put me through this one circuit, it was no more than like 5 exercises, and it wasn't anything that was hard. It was relatively really light. But the anxiety started to come up again. And this time, I couldn't just work through it. Before, I could turn the feelings off. I could just leave my body, and I could just pound myself into the workout and just be like, you got this, let's go, mind over matter. Like, I could do all of those things. I could do that before, but this time, as I was going through the workout with him, I couldn't do it. And it was just all of these rushing things. It was like literally PTSD, like all of these instances of just everything I've gone through in the gym. And I'm sitting there like trying to push myself, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, for what? Like, why am I doing this for? Like, who do I have to prove that I can do this? It's very evident. Anyone who's worked out with me knows that I am a hard ass worker, you know? Like, So what am I doing this for? I don't have shit to prove to anybody. I've made my 10Ks a month. I've made my 15Ks a month. I've done everything. So what am I doing this for? I'm putting myself through this and I'm having PTS flashbacks for what? I don't want to do this. And coming to that thought was the most painful thing for me. And it was painful because I felt like I lost. Like I genuinely felt like a loser, that all of these situations and all of these things that I've dealt with over the years had traumatized me so much that I couldn't even show up for myself anymore. And it wasn't my choice. Like the one place that I established control for myself, I no longer was in control. And I tried everything. People say go to therapy. My therapist caught feelings for me. People say, well, you should talk to your friends about it. My friends at the time were not like, I'm thankful, like the friends that I have now, amazing. Like I'm so grateful. Like the people and relationships that I have now in my life are amazing. But the friends that I had at the time could not do shit for me. Did not do shit for me. I was the person who went above and beyond for every single person in my life. I was the person who would sacrifice myself, who would show up for people, who was there, who would advocate for people. And I learned that. It was so evident to me when I started winning in life, when I started getting the brand deals, when I finally got my apartment, and when I wanted to celebrate, there was nobody there. And I remember I had a housewarming and I had invited so many people to come to this housewarming, and I bought food with the last money I had in my pocket, people at my housewarming. And when I tell you, like, none of the people who I thought were my real friends showed up. Not one of them. There were people that did show up, and those people I'm forever grateful for. But none of the people who I thought were my real friends showed up. And from that moment, I realized I'm doing this for me. And I took full accountability for my life. And to bring it back, when I was going through the workout, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what am I even doing this for? Like, I'm pushing myself. I'm going so hard in all of this, and I'm like beating my body up for this. For what? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I beating myself up for? And what I came to realize was that it was no longer for anybody else, but it was for me now. It's always been for me. So when I came to that conclusion that I was doing this for me and I wasn't doing it for anybody else, it absolutely did make me reconsider training. And so to bring it back here, I was like, I don't want to do personal training. Like, I have no desire to want to train anybody. And I came to that conclusion because it was like, every time I would go to a personal training session, I was just like so disconnected from it. Like when I was training a client. And integrity is everything for me. I always want to make sure that I give everybody my absolute best. I do believe, like, either give it 110% or don't do it. So when I would go to a training session and I'm like working with a client, I'm just like, okay, going through the motions. And I couldn't relate. I'm putting them through workouts that I haven't done in over a month and a half. And they're saying like, oh, this hurts, or, you know, they're like, you know, going through it and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I know how you feel. I'm just like, all right, next set, you know? And it started to create a resentment in me where I couldn't care about somebody else's fitness goal or someone else's fitness journey when I couldn't even find peace in my own. I didn't want to be there for the transformation. And I say this like, I didn't want to be there so bad that even when I had clients reach out to me and ask me like, Kelsey, will you please train me? I started sending money back because I did not want to take on any training clients anymore. And the clients that I did have and I currently do have, I was just like, this is all I have. This is all I have the capacity for. I cannot take on another person. And even with the clients that I currently have, it was extremely hard for me to be consistent with them, to show up to their training sessions on time, to not reschedule, like to be present. Every time I would go to the gym, I felt like I was like somewhere else. Like I felt like I would leave my body every single time to be in that space, to be in the gym. And I was just like, dang, like, is this really how I go out? Like, training is really done for me. Like, I thought this was something that I wanted. I got my bachelor's degree in this. I've literally dedicated 5 years of my life to this. I've done boot camps. I have my LLC. I've done so many things to create this career for myself. And it was an extremely hard pill for me to swallow that, like, you can't help anybody if you're not okay. And honesty and transparency are truly like foundational pieces, whether it's in a relationship with other people and really just in the relationship with yourself, with myself. Personal training is an extremely vulnerable career that I think people do not understand enough. You're not just putting somebody through workouts. It's not just going through the motions. It's not ChatGPT. It's not, no, like personal training is extremely intimate. People go to the gym and work out for so many different reasons. Like the reason why someone is not confident, happy, and secure in their body has so much to do with what's going on in here and in here, that having a personal trainer who violates that space for you is fucking sick. Like, I can't put it in any other way. Just like a therapist catching feelings for a client, how that's like emotional, like manipulation and violation. It's the same thing with a personal trainer. A person is coming to you because they're trusting you to respect them and to help them reach a goal, to help them gain confidence, security, mental fortitude, peace, control. And for someone to come and violate that space should be a fucking crime. And I'm saying that as someone who has been a personal trainer for 5 years. I got my degree in kinesiology. I have my degree in kinesiology. I am NASM certified. Like, personal training is so sacred and it's a huge responsibility. The gym is so sacred. It's a place where you're vulnerable. You allow people, and you're allowing someone to see you in such a weak state, in moments where you feel powerless, in moments where you hit that wall mentally and emotionally. You confide in that person. You know, like the gym is where you literally let your guard down. And to be violated in a place that should be your sanctuary is sick and twisted. And this wasn't a conversation that I wanted to have because I'm not a victim. And I never want that to ever come off as a thing. Like, I'm not a victim. However, what I will say is that shit was not okay. As a female personal trainer and a coach, I have heard numerous stories And conversations, like when I take on clients, they'll tell me about, how they don't like working with certain coaches or things like that. And I tell everybody, like, I've only paid to train with 2 coaches that I will never train with again. Amazing coaches, but character-wise, absolutely fucking not. And there are certain gyms that I will never go back to. I will never work at, train at, you will never catch me at ever again. Because the gym is a sacred place. The gym is a place for you to work on yourself and for you to truly become a better version of yourself. And for people to create certain environments that rob you of that experience when you're already in such a vulnerable place and you're coming to that place for help is insane, to say the least. Like, the only word that I can think of is like vile to me. Like, it's disgusting. When I work with clients, I tell every single person, like, your trainer does not need to touch you to correct you. I'm a female coach and I barely touch my clients. Heavy on the barely. A good coach, a real coach, should be able to correct you with their words and to have a conversation with you about how you need to fix your form, what needs to change. But your coach should not be touching you, or, like, your coach, a good coach does not need to touch you. 2, your coach should not be talking to you about sexual things. Your coach shouldn't be doing it. Personal training is a profession. And I understand that some people don't understand the professionalism that goes into personal training, but personal training is a profession. And it's something that I hold very close and dear to my heart, and that I've always upheld, even in terms of like how I go to work, how I dress, how I present myself with my clients, how I treat my clients. And the fitness industry has become so sexualized, overly sexualized, to where people think that shit is okay, and it's not. It's not okay to be talking about sex and all of the things in a training session. It's not okay. It's not okay to be flirting with your clients. It's not okay to be making advances towards your clients. It's not okay. It's disrespectful. And it's extremely, I want to say unprofessional, but there's a better word. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I can't think of the word. But to say the least, it's not okay. And I've seen how it has affected me to the point where I am literally having to take a step back from training so that I can rebuild a relationship with the gym on my own because of the fucked up situations that I've dealt with in the gym. From the sexual harassment, to the abuse, to the stalking, to the rape attempts, to the violations, to even being disregarded and losing opportunities for not wanting to be intimate with certain people. Like, I've dealt with so many things on my end as a trainer. I can only imagine what it's like on the client side, where you go to the gym hoping that you're going to get a great experience, and then now your coach is making advances to you and flirting with you and touching you inappropriately and doing all of those things. I can only imagine what it's like. And it takes so much strength. It takes so much strength and courage to still show up and to still pursue your fitness goals and to still put yourself out there and to still work out when in that place, in that environment, you're constantly being taken advantage of. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about, because I never said anything about it. I've always been the type of person who's just like, you know what, if something happens, I'll just remove myself from the situation. I'll just move, or I'll just do this, or I'll just, I'll just whatever. But at this point in my life, I've realized like it's so important to advocate for yourself, and it's so important to stop running, stop freezing, and fight back. You deserve to have the life and that you deserve to have the life that you want, and to work on being the best version of yourself without somebody violating you, without somebody taking advantage of you, without somebody manipulating you, without somebody trying to assault you, without somebody trying to make advances towards you. You deserve to just be in a space where you feel safe and you feel comfortable without somebody trying to do some weird shit. And I would like to say there are trainers out there, and there are gyms and places and spaces where that is a reality. However, there are far too many places and too many trainers who have polluted the fitness space, and even influencers, I will say, but have polluted the fitness space and overly sexualized it and violated it. And it's not okay. It's sick. It's disgusting, and you need help. Nobody deserves that shit. Nobody deserves to be trying to work on themselves and actually better themselves and actually progress and actually become the best version of themselves, and to have somebody that's a straight weirdo just take advantage of them when they're already in a vulnerable place. I've had it happen to me, but I am strong enough to stand up and fight back and not allow people to push me out of a space that I've worked my ass off to be in. I want to close this out by just saying, like, if you've ever, it's like a fucking commercial, but seriously, if you've ever dealt with being violated, abused, taken advantage of, or anything like that in the gym space, or just dealing with the general over-sexualization of fitness in general, I want to reassure you and let you know that that shit is not normal, and that shit is not okay. And there are other gyms, there are other trainers that do not do weird shit like that. Where they are, it depends on where you live, but there are trainers that still have integrity. There are trainers that still respect their clients and that uphold professionalism. There are trainers who respect the craft and that are trustworthy. It's not okay. It's not okay for a trainer to touch you inappropriately. It's not okay for a trainer to make advances towards you. It's not okay for a trainer to abuse you in any way or harass you in any way, to flirt with you. It's not okay. It's not okay in any way, shape, or form. In the same way that it's not okay for therapists too. In the same way that it's not okay for anybody to. If it's unwanted attention, period. And really, like, when you're in a professional space, like, you're paying for a service, it should be you're paying for a professional service. That means there should be boundaries, professional boundaries. So, and I say this to myself too, don't let nobody trick you out your spot. Don't let nobody get in the way of you becoming the best version of yourself. Don't let anybody run you out of the gym, run you out of your fitness goals, or run you out of you just being the person that you want to be, being comfortable in your skin. Don't let nobody take that away from you. Advocate for yourself. Speak up for yourself. Stop running. That shit is not okay. And it happens far too much. And it happens so much because nobody says anything and people normalize it. And then you have weirdos saying like, that shit is funny, and it's not. Stand up. Advocate for yourself. Fight back. Keep working on yourself. Keep showing up. Get back in the gym. No matter how hard it is. And I'm telling you, like, it is hard. It is not easy putting yourself out there again. And allowing yourself to be vulnerable again, to hire another trainer, to work with another trainer, or to work with anybody in the fitness space and feel safe when you've been taken advantage of in so many different ways. And it's impacted your life in so many different ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, all the LYs. But I encourage you to have the courage. Please, please, please do not give up on your fitness goals. Do not give up on showing up for yourself. Do not give up on working hard. Do not give up on yourself. Don't let nobody trick you out your spot. I promise you, that situation, that gym, that trainer, whatever the fuck the situation was, that was them and that was there. You can find another gym. You can find a better trainer. You can find another trainer. You can find a space that is respectful. You can find a place that has rules and boundaries and that cultivates an environment that prevents shit like that from happening. It is so possible. And I'm telling you this because I myself have found gyms, multiple gyms, that do create a healthy, safe environment where I don't have weird shit like that going on, where I can work with a trainer and I don't have to worry about them trying to get at me. I can train with somebody and not have to worry about them trying to touch me or any of those things. Like, it's possible. It is there. It is real. They're just weirdos. But you can advocate for yourself and you can decide when it's time for you to leave, and you don't have to feel uncomfortable. You're not doing anything wrong by leaving. Training, going to the gym should feel comfortable, should feel safe, should feel secure, should be your safe haven, your citadel, your inner citadel. It should be your safe space. Going to the gym should be a safe space. And I'm sorry that I don't even know what weirdo started this. It hasn't been. It hasn't been a safe space for a very long time. And I'm saying this as someone, again, I've been training for 5 years and I've been dealing with this shit for years. But we do not run from our problems. We face them head on. Sometimes, you outgrow places, spaces, and people. And that's okay. Honestly, it's for the best. So find you a gym, find you a trainer, find you a space where you feel safe, where you feel respected, where you feel seen, where you feel secure, where you feel comfortable, and work on yourself, work on your goals. You deserve to reach your goals. Don't let them trick you out your spot. Don't let them get the best of you. So that's all I got. Bye.